You wonder why every state in America spends more money on prisons than they do on schools? Because at the end of slavery, the American government decided that this country would never again rely on black labor as the foundation for American capitalism. That's what the immigration bill is about. You want to know what it's about? Making sure we got enough Latinos and East Indians and Arabs and Koreans to work, because we don't want to put black men to work. Put them out of work, force them into crime, send them to jail, and you reduce their numbers. Jail is birth control. Homosexuality is birth control. And you got to understand what you're dealing with. But a lot of y'all running around fighting the Latino struggle. Come on. Running around fighting the homosexual struggle. We minorities. When that was day when you was getting dog sick on you? Where was the Latinos and Mexicans and white people in 1957 when them 9 students were trying to bust the doors open at Central High School? Where was they at then? I'll tell you where they was. They hid in the background. Let you stand out front and do all the marching. All the fight, you did all the dying. And when the Civil Rights Bill got passed in '64, instead of putting rights for black people, they said rights for minorities. And by doing that, they allowed people who didn't even participate in your struggle to reap the benefits of your blood, sweat, and tears. See, the problem we got, and we got to fix it. We got a problem being unapologetically African. Come on. We ashamed to say that when I speak, I'm speaking for black people only. I'm not speaking against the Latino or the Arab or the East Indian. The East Indian and the Arab and the Asian can't stand my guts any more than the European can. Understand something about your slavery. It's the only one in world history where the whole world participated. Everybody gained something from it. Only slavery ever like that. It's the only one where nobody did a damn thing about it. It's the only one that codified your inhumanity by law. You got to understand what that means for a second now. Only your slavery said that you were not even human beings. You're talking about fighting for equality. How about fighting to be recognized as a person? And most of us still don't recognize each other's humanity. And that's why the #1 killer of black men on the face of the earth is other black men. We still continue to dehumanize each other. Black men have sexually objectified the black woman as a sex tool only. When she walks into a room, you don't see a thinking human being. You see breasts, buttocks, hips. Come on now. And unfortunately, black woman, you have objectified the black man as a financial machine only. So when he walks in the room, how much is he worth? What does he make? How much does he earn? So we are still interacting with each other as men and women on a European concept. And you wonder why we have so much trouble. Now at the same time, sisters, you got to be willing to let the brothers be men to your boys. Because some of you, without even knowing it, are psychologically castrating and effeminizing your sons. And you're turning your boys into the exact type of men you can't stand yourself. And then when he's 25 years old messing up another sister's life, you say he's just like his daddy. But his daddy ain't been there. No, he's just like his mother. You mean. So black women have to start looking at other black women for the terrible men that you got. For those few, because we know most brothers in Little Rock are all right. We're going to talk about relationships on the end, but we're going to deal with the children first. Now, I want to read, let me back up for a second. Mothers who don't have men in the house, I need you to make an extra effort not to objectify your oldest son as your man. Psychologically, women who don't have men turn their oldest son into their husband, not sexually, psychologically. And once you objectify your oldest boy as the man of the house, he's now your equal, which means he can no longer be held accountable by you. Come on, brother. And your oldest son can end up punishing you by withholding his emotional support whenever you make them angry? How many of us know boys who run their mother's lives? Sexually objectifying your son. Now, I want to open up this book, and it cost me $69 for this piece of garbage. That's how much they cost. DSM-4 was only $35 for the pocket size. DSM-5 is $70. Now let's look at the economics of this. Because one thing we know about white supremacy is that capitalism and racism go hand in hand. Racism keeps you oppressed. Capitalism makes money off of you while you are oppressed. So for every problem black folks got in Arkansas, you got to ask yourself, how is the European cashing in on this? Now, every psychologist has to buy this book. Every psychiatrist, every social worker, every professional counselor, every graduate and undergraduate mental health student in America. You're talking about easily 5 million people have to buy this $69 book. $69 times 5 million people is how much money they made already. You think that's something? Let's look at special education in Little Rock. Every time I evaluate one of your children and put them in special ed for the learning disability, or special ed for autism, or special ed for intellectual disability / mental retardation, or special ed for emotional disturbance, or special ed for deafness or blindness or traumatic brain injury or orthopedic impairment or other health impairment or speech and language impairment or developmental delay. Every time I put one of your babies in special ed, the school gets twice the amount of money for the special ed children. I need y'all to understand special ed is not a program to help nobody. That's a lie. Special ed is a waiting cell for black boys that white women don't want to teach until they're old enough to drop out, go to jail, or get killed. Special ed is a business. Let me make it real plain. In Arkansas, the state spends on average $6,500 per pupil in public and charter school. Black or white, $6,500 per pupil. Once your son get that label on him, he ain't worth $6,500 a year no more. He worth 13 grand. And they get that 13 grand each and every year he's in special ed. So let's say your son is in 2nd grade and you let somebody diagnose him with a learning disability. Let me say that again. You let. I cannot evaluate your child without your written permission. These white psychologists in Little Rock, they cannot test your child without your permission. You got to give your consent. So there's 2 million black kids in special ed in America. That means there's 2 million black parents who signed their kids away. Now, I'm not going to put you all in the same boat. Some of you got children who got legitimate disabilities. Some of your children are autistic. Some of your children do have speech and language impairments. Some of you got young folk who are moderate or severe intellectual disability. We do have blind and deaf black children. We do have orthopedically impaired black children. But I want to focus on the big black 4. The big black 4. Specific learning disability. Emotional disturbance. In OHI for ain't no daddy at home disorder. Now, what separates emotional disturbance, the learning disability, and other health impairment for OHI, ADHD, how does that differ from blind, from being deaf, from a traumatic brain injury, from a speech and language impairment, from an orthopedic impairment? Do you know what makes them different? You can prove blindness. You can prove deafness. You can prove traumatic brain impairment. You can prove orthopedic impairment. You can prove speech and language. If a child is stuttering, if a child got a lazy tongue, you don't need 6 years of grad school to tell that the child needs some help. But when somebody tells you your child is learning disabled, when somebody say they got a reading disability, that fan's still hitting me. I need to move it back a little bit. Because I get bronchitis. I'll be sick as a dog in here. There we go, we good. They say your grandson got a writing disability. You know what makes that different? I can't prove it. When a psychologist evaluates your child for anything in this book, if you remember nothing else I say here today, you remember this. These are opinions. These are not facts. They can be wrong. But some of y'all, don't have a problem with the misdiagnosis because you want that crazy check. Some of y'all hustling your kids for $700 a month. Some of y'all send your kids to my office and tell them to play dumb in front of Dr. Umar so I can get that check. Because the dumber they are, the more money you get. This is the reality. See, the school system has a rite of passage for black boys. 5 stages. First, we're going to miseducate them from pre-K to about 3rd grade. What is miseducation about? It's about teaching a black boy to hate himself as an African, to love white people as Europeans. Right. And if we can influence him to adopt a confused lifestyle. Right. Pre-K to 3rd. From 4th to 7th, we're going to special educate with your permission. From 7th through 9th, we're going to psychiatrically medicate with your permission. In high school, we're going to juvenile incarcerate. And by his 35th birthday, 1 out of every 4 black boys will be exterminated. That's the rites of passage that they got for us.